This left-hander was like that, and watching Deegan hit it, holy cow, he's got some good eye speed, because like, I don't know how he was able to look as quickly ahead as he needed to with how fast he was hitting that turn. If you watch it back, watch how much his head actually turns and looks as he goes through the turn. I just said turn 500 times, but he looks so far to the left. It's crazy. Is this the one that his dad got with his dad's reaction? Which is epic, by the way.
This was the most ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
How epic is Brian's reaction though?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Play it one more time. Dude, that's cool. I mean, that just shows you like they're having fun. I mean, that for him, he couldn't be too stressed out to be laughing like that at a video clip. That's cool, but that's incredible. I mean, what the?
Where did that
is
come
an
from?
insane corner. Even just to triple those 3 rollers before and make that corner was. You had to commit to going fast no matter what if you were tripling those, but to hit it at that speed, holy crap. And the only thing that allows you to do that is looking far enough ahead. And when you're going that fast, you have to look, it's like a fighter pilot. You have to look like above your head and like over that way. Like that's how much you're leaning at that point. So you have to look like that. That's crazy.
Wild. But perfect day for him. Perfect day. 4th place.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
To keep charging and to come from the back like that. Now I will say, because Chance was in need of a little pep talk today, and he got arm pump in the main event. So, but Chance started in 2nd or 3rd, and he tightened up. So completely different scenario than where if he had started 8th to 10th, which I think is where Deegan was, you probably would have seen a better effect from Chance's behalf. Now, I don't know how Deegan would have done in that situation had he been tossed up front. Be curious. But I do know that Chance struggles with arm pump a little bit. Not too bad because he rides so frequently, but enough to where he dropped positions in that main event. Not because he was tired. He was not tired. He had arm pump. So I find that interesting.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hear of people complaining about it that bad, other than like, holy cow, I get it horrible, so I can relate.
Here's the situation I'm in now. I hang out with all these pro athletes all the time, and then I come home just feeling like a piece of crap. But I don't even know where to start, and I think that's a big issue that a lot of people have. Like even with my close circle is like, where the heck do you start when you have no? I mean, I have bike fitness, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying?
In actuality, the best place to start is to start simple. And most people are like, if I'm starting a program, I need to be in the gym 5 days a week. And reality of it is like, no, you don't. 2 to 3 times a week is actually a very sufficient amount of training. The professional riders that I work with, they're in the gym maybe twice a week. It's not as much as most people perceive it to be. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we just think we got to work ourselves into the ground to make, headway. But if you just start with something simple and plain, even if it's like, I'm going to go do the bike for 20 minutes and then I'm going to go maybe squat, and when I say squat, I mean body weight squat 20 times for 3 sets. I'm going to do lunges for 20 times for 3 sets. I'm going to do push-ups, and I'm going to break this up. Just something to start somewhere is better than not starting at all or not doing anything at all.
Yep. Albert's phone definitely just died, by the way. So
I just saw that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll keep talking. And then, so one piece of advice I was given at one point, and I don't know if this is weird advice or not, you could tell me, is I was talking to my buddy who was way into the gym, and he was like, I was like, yeah, where do I start? Like, what do I do? And he's like, start going to the gym, but don't change your diet. Because his reason was like, if you change everything at once, you're just going to not do it.
That's not wrong. Like, if you're starting something and you change literally everything about your daily life, because routines of eating, routines of sleeping, routines of working out, you change all that at once, that's really hard to do. It's so disrupting that your brain kind of is going to go crazy and you're just going to not be able to do anything at all. It'd be no different if, AJ was coaching a rider and told him 5 different things to focus on in a corner at one time. Rather than being able to focus on 5 things, they're going to focus on nothing because that's just too much.
Exactly.
So, but there's definitely like an order of operations that would be better, right? Like, I wouldn't say gym is the first thing to getting healthier. It's probably sleep and nutrition. Like, fix your sleep, get good quality sleep, and then work on nutrition, and then the gym can come in. And during those times, you can be, walking still, like, go for a walk. Like, if it's beautiful out like it is for you right now, go outside, go for a walk, get good sleep, eat better, and you'll have more energy. And then you might be ready to hit the gym because your energy levels are now up or something of that.
Yeah. Interesting. I've never heard it in that order. I've always heard go to the gym, then figure out food.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you think about like health and wellness, the gym is more of a substitution for inactivity and daily lifestyle. So when you sit on your bottom for 8 hours of the day, the gym is a way of releasing all that energy that you didn't use throughout the day. It's a way of doing the movement you didn't do throughout the day. But the nutritional side of things, like, that's actual survival for your body. Sleep is recovery and cleanup of your body. Those 2 things by far exceed importance as far as the gym goes. Like, the gym's that next thing in line for sure.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's super interesting.
I just saw a clip of Anderson. I was trying to think of who it was, of Anderson at Pala for the press day that they had on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And it just made me think of how much more, in my opinion, now this will be interesting. I would ask you the same, or we could ask the audience too, to comment below and let us know. I saw this clip and I'm like, he must be going 70 miles an hour. And it made me think outdoors is way more dangerous than Supercross. And I think that the stigma is the exact opposite. I think people think, oh, Supercross, Death Cross, like those guys are, on the verge of killing themselves all the time. But the speeds are so much more low. I would choose Supercross for safety purposes 10 times out of 10. Like, outdoors is scary.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, because I would agree. I would say Supercross is more dangerous than outdoors. I would agree with everybody else. I mean, I've never ridden Supercross.
I think it's just a matter of lowering speeds. Actually, I had the same conversation with Carmichael and Emig and talking about how do you make Supercross safer. And my argument was make the tracks more technical so that the speeds are slower, because ultimately, like, the mile per hour is what mattered. So if you're crashing at 20 miles an hour as opposed to 35 miles an hour, that makes a huge difference. And then you go from Supercross to outdoors, instead of crashing at 30 miles an hour, now you're crashing at 55 or 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's the way that I look at it.
Well, I just think the reason people think that, as well as myself, is just because I feel like there's a lot more bad crashes in Supercross right now than there are outdoors.
Yeah, but then you watch like the MXGP highlights, and is it not every weekend somebody is just launching through the air and having like the most catastrophic crash you've ever seen?
This is a super overdone topic, but I do want to hear your thoughts on it. Okay. Why is Europe and all those guys so much better at motocross than us? Because it was never that way. But in the last 5-6 years, it has totally flipped upside down. And now we're just getting whipped at Motocross of Nations.
Yeah, it's just because we're all Supercross specialists now. Nobody really cares. Outdoors is an afterthought. So unless somebody gets hurt in Supercross and it times out perfectly to where they can get additional outdoor prep, everybody's main focus, everybody's main off season is all Supercross. So we're better at Supercross and they're better at outdoors. And look at the outdoor tracks that they're riding constantly. They're riding in terrible conditions a lot of the time, sandy conditions, tracks that aren't maintained the way that US tracks are maintained. Like, of course, the fact that we were better for as long as we were didn't even make sense. It makes sense that we should get annihilated. Now, that's why it's going to be interesting seeing Caroli. What place would you guess that Caroli would get?
Dude, oh, that's a great question. I have no idea, but he'll be top 5. I don't think he'll win, to be honest. Why? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he won.
You think you think he wins round 1?
Well, okay, let's see. Paula, I don't know if Paula would. I don't think Paula would necessarily suit his style. I think that would suit more of an American rider style because it's just sort of high speed and California hard pack ish. I think Tomac wins round 1.
Yeah, I don't think that's far
But
off.
I bet you Caroli will be on or near the podium, and I bet you Caroli will win a race.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if he'd win the championship.
I bet you Caroli wins like High Point.
Really?
Yeah. Or Southwick.
The thing
Probably
is, like,
Southwick.
yeah, that would make sense. I've never followed MXGP. I really don't know anything about it. I know Caroli and I know Hurlings, and that's it. Like, those are the only 2 riders that I could name out of MXGP.
Really? And
Yeah.
that's sad. I know more about it than that, but not as much as I should. I just don't have time to watch full races. I do try to watch the highlights and just generally keep up with it. But I'm excited for making more Moto Academy YouTube videos starting again this weekend. Jack's going to start recording them and sending over clips. And I think there will be a lot more highlights for outdoors because you're getting a lot more footage.
It was the last lap that he could have put in. Okay, he doubled the finish line, sat down when he landed, looked up at the board, saw that RJ had just beat him, and then pinned it, set the fastest lap of 250s and the second fastest lap of the day behind Eli or whoever qualified first.
And he landed the finish line and sat down for a second?
Looked up and was like, oh, RJ got in front of me, and then blasted one out of the corner and set the fastest lap. He literally, dude, I have a shot. He came off the track and looked straight at me, which was incredible, and was like, did you see that? Like, he couldn't believe it. He was literally like, how did that just happen? Like,
oh my God. So did you get all that on film?
No, I didn't get any of it. I didn't know. It was the last lap. No, and I was like, that was the qualifier. I went back early to get him coming off the track, but it's good because I was going to have one or the other, and I'd rather have the reaction. But yeah, he also crashed on the first lap of that practice. He like whiskey throttled off the track.
That's right. That was a weird crash, but holy crap, I cannot believe, because now that I remember, they didn't show his last lap. They showed the one that pretty deep into that time qualifier put him to the top of the board, and then RJ got him with like less than a minute to go.
Yes.
And the lap that they showed Jett, they showed it in its entirety. It was a cruiser lap. Like, he was just chilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what that tells me is that is very realistic for Jett to have landed that finish line and just done one of these for a second.
Yeah.
And that is so boss. Could you imagine being that good to where you land the
look up
when you go in for a heater lap? You are hitting the corner before the finish line as fast as you can. You're scrubbing the finish, which, by the way, that was a finish line that you would definitely scrub because time starts on the takeoff. In fact, time starts usually at the bottom of the takeoff.
Yeah.
You can't just cruise into your I mean, he would have lost a second.
But this is...
He's more than that.
It just proves the suspicion of everyone's looking at Jett and be like, man, he doesn't quite look like he's riding as hard as he can in the mains. Like, he's winning the mains by seconds.
He's not. He's not.
It's like, wow, he doesn't look like
You hear people say that all the time. It's like, oh, sure. I've even heard Jett say it in the past before I've trained with him. And I was like, yeah, sure. That's easy to say.
No,
right?
he's what do you think his percentage is in the main event?
Oh, it's probably 80.
Yeah, 80 sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. But that 20% additional that he could very comfortably ride within, because he rides so often, he could operate at 100% and be totally safe still. He could gain another 1.5 seconds.
Dang.
Probably. I mean, watching him train every day at the dog pound, it's just like, what the? And I called it before the season started. Barring anything, and this is maybe this was easy to call, but he will go undefeated this season. There's no way he won't, unless something crazy happens. He's just. But I would honestly think that Hunter could do the same on the East Coast.
Yeah, I hope Hunter does. Dude, it's just. I mean, that qualifying lap just put it.
That's so funny that he did that.
Literally goes over the finish line, looks up the board, sees that he's not first, and then hits it in the corner, and then starts like.
Insane.
When you're fighting,
I wish somebody got that.
Oh, everyone's fighting for hundredths of a second in qualifying, and this dude's just chilling, looking. Okay, yeah, I'll go now, and then makes just wow.
That's incredible. The next thing he's got to do is like what Stewart used to do, is just get the top qualifying time and then just pull off and get your mechanic and leave. You haven't seen Jett. Did Jett go 1-1 at the first round? He did, right? But round 2 and round 3, Jett didn't necessarily look like he was firing on all cylinders.
Oh no!
Forget being sick. He just didn't look that fast either.
Right.
And still able to do what he did. So
crazy.
Shoot. Yeah. And
Crazy.
That's nothing taken away from Justin Cooper, because he gets amazing starts and he's very
wicked.
consistent.
Yeah.
Which I put up a post in Moto Academy before the race, and I said, watch for 2 things this whole day. Watch for footwork. Just keep an eye on like what guys are doing with their feet, and then watch upper body stability. Watch the guys that are riding with their elbows up and not allowing their head to move versus the guys that are kind of dancing around the bike. The more you watch the 250 class, the more I realize there are a lot of fast guys that do not stabilize their upper bodies at all.
Yeah, at all.
At all. Justin Cooper does a really good job of it. Justin Cooper's footwork, in my opinion, could use a little bit of help, right?
No, it does. He's a little duck-footed.
But his upper body is so good that that's why he's consistent, because you don't see him make stupid mistakes in corners. Now, when you watch Moseman is a good example. Moseman has really good footwork. Watch Moseman's feet. They're very good. He puts his foot out in the corners, but it's high, tight, toe pointed in. His toes are in when he stands. They're always in the right spot, which is great. So that helps him. But Moseman's upper body is a mess. The elbows are down, and it's like he's trying to dodge a punch with his head. And a lot of that is like, it seems like he chooses to ride that way, almost like Hampshire, right? But it just doesn't work. That's why those guys crash so much. It is so important for these guys. It's almost too late, but it's not too late. These 250 guys need to have riding coaches. And if they do already, the riding coaches should be focusing more, if not already, on technique. And I was watching the race. And even Levi Kitchen looked wicked fast, but there was a lot of movement going around on that bike. And he has very good bike skill, you could tell just from watching. But these guys, I think, have to, if they want to be consistent week to week like Jett, they have to clean up the technique so that they're consistent.
Yeah.
Or else they'll never be consistent. And it just doesn't, it's so frustrating that these teams invest so much money in these riders, but then it's like, do they have a riding coach? That should be, riding coach and mental coach should be the 2 most important things. Forget about paying these physical trainers all this money. Go out and ride your dirt bike. You're going to be in shape.
Yeah, right.
Figure out your mental game and figure out how to ride the dirt bike properly.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, though? Is those podium speeches are telling, dude. Like, you see Hunter get up on that podium, and he's just like Sunday stroll talking, and some dudes are like half dead.
Oh, Levi Kitchen, I thought he was going to throw up on the podium.
Same.
But granted, he was sick, but didn't it look like he was going to throw up in his mouth?
Oh, yeah. I thought for sure. I was like, this isn't going to happen.
I was watching so intently. I'm like, here it comes. He's going to barf. Here it comes.
But it's like, he was probably just scared out of his mind too, right? But
by the way, he killed it. Like, for leading start to finish like that, in front of one of the best 250 riders we've seen basically ever, is extremely, extremely impressive. But I'm hard on these guys because they are that good. It's like,
right.
You should be not perfect, but you should like really really figure that stuff out.
Right. Yeah.
They should be watching Sexton and watching Jett, watching Hunter, watching Roczens, and like trying to look as much like that as humanly possible.
Quick question, if you can help. When I do practice sessions, I normally ride for about 20 minutes. Fine, no problems at all. No arm pump, nothing. But when it comes to races, which are my races are only 10 minutes long, I seem to get tight arms. My technique goes out the window. I don't seem to ride very well at all. Is there any advice you can give on what to do on practice days? Should I be doing the full 20 minutes? Would it be better to do sort of 3 or 4 lap sprints, etc.? Just to try and improve my shorter race distance speed. If there's any advice you can give, that'd be great. Cheers, bye.
Excellent question. Excellent question. And the answer I'm going to give is maybe going to be a surprise to a lot of people. The advice is don't race. And I'll go way more in depth on that. So the reason that's happening, think about it. You could train, you could do 20s, you could do 30s, you could do an hour-long moto. It doesn't matter. When you go out there for a race and you do 1 lap around that track, you are riding at a pace that is so far above your comfort zone that everything is falling apart. Your body can't handle it. You're not breathing. And I don't care if you're the most fit person in the world, you're going to get tired in a short amount of time, in 10 minutes, in 5 minutes. You have to, and this is my plan. I don't know exactly how to implement this and hold people accountable for this just yet, but I'm going to figure it out. When I have a training facility, there will be certain days that we do motos. On our moto days, I'm going to make it a point to have everybody operating on a percentage-based system based on the amount of consecutive seat time that they've had. Maybe they're coming off of an injury. Maybe any factor that you can possibly think of, no matter what skill level they are, no matter how long they've been riding, if they took a 3-day weekend instead of a 2-day weekend, if they're only on the bike 1 day this week instead of 5. And then you're given a percentage for if you're a little sick, if maybe you're really sore and you're not feeling that great, your percentage will fluctuate. You have to operate within that percentage. If you're at the practice track and you're feeling the flow, you can do 20-minute motos, no problem. Your technique feels like you're actually hitting your marks and keeping the riding clean. Yet you're probably riding at 60 to 70%. When you go to the race and you say everything falls apart and you're getting tired instantly, it's because, whoop, I've accidentally gone right to that 100% mark. And let's face it, unless you're riding 5 days a week and only doing motocross 100% of the time, you should not be racing at 100%. I think I've mentioned this maybe on the podcast. Last year, I had 3 weeks of pre-season prep before Supercross began. I was operating consciously at 65%. So what that means is that if I'm out on the track, 65% could put me in 10th place. It could put me in dead last. It didn't matter. I wasn't going to go beyond that, because if I did, I was tired instantly. I got arm pump instantly. I would make mistakes, and then things start to get dangerous when you're making those mistakes and riding on the edge. And that was only at 65% in a professional Supercross race. So you either have to just be the most accountable, conscious person ever in your perceived effort and stay within that and really do a good job of trying to calculate what that is based on how many times you rode that week, how comfortable you are riding at what speed, and stay within that, or not race at all. Because let's face it, most people are not that accountable. And when that gate drops, they do some silly things. Because the problem is when you're building, especially when you're building technique, you cannot at any point ride 100%. Because now all we're doing is executing bad habits and reinforcing bad habits, and we're just taking 2, 3, 4 steps backwards. And it's frustrating for me to see that. And I did the same thing for years and years because I didn't understand, when the gate drops, yeah, I'm competitive and yeah, I want to do well, but I don't always have to go balls to the wall. You know what I mean? And especially if it's not your job, don't. If you want to just race for fun, great, race for fun. If there's 30 guys on that line and you rode that week and did 20 minutes and felt like you were operating pretty well 20 minutes at 65 to 70%, stick with that 70% on race day. And if you end up mid-pack, well, just you end up mid-pack. And that's just, it is what it is. That's a very long-winded answer, but I that's what I plan to do at the facility. I'm going to create that system somehow. I'm going to hold guys accountable to it every single day, because if not, then you're going to have, let's say, our 40 people that are training at this facility full time. You're going to have 40 kids go out there, and I'm going to say, cool, we're doing a 25-minute moto right now, and everything that we've worked on for the past however long is going to go out the window if you don't give them a percentage to stay under.
Yeah.
Cam?
Well,
What's
you
your
and
advice?
I had talked like this. We've talked about this forever, but one day we're gonna make a video. We got to make a video where I go and race for the first time in 10 years. And like had you as my coach. I think that'd be wicked freaking fun and a good little mini series. I don't know. There's so many things we could do with that. I think it'd be awesome. But at one point we were talking about like, oh, what if we did Daytona? Like, what if we did amateur day at Daytona? And you asked me like, how would you do it? I'm like, oh, but I would have to pick something like, my goal for this moto is to keep my feet on the pegs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and at that conversation, I think it was even on the podcast when we were talking about this, but we were talking more about like results and trying to get results out of your head. But I think it says the same thing as if you go racing and you ride over your head. It's like your mindset's wrong in that race, right? Going with the mindset of something like, you know what, my goal for this race, I'm going to keep my feet on the pegs, and you'll probably ride better. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, almost guaranteed you'll ride better. Yeah. It's a weird thing to think about because you're in a race, but the problem is we're riding dirt bikes. It is so dangerous, and it has potential to be so dangerous that you can't just wing it like that. There has to be a better game plan in place. And yeah, if you're riding and training full time, then great. You can get close to that 100% mark and operate there. And that's what the pros are doing. That's what separates, when people ask me, AJ, what separates you between the top 10 guys in the lights class and Supercross? It's just that they do it every day. You know, I'm in and out. I ride sometimes. Other times I don't ride for, I'll take 3 months off for no random reason because I'm so busy. So it is not humanly possible for me to operate at 100% potential or perceived effort. It just isn't. I recommend you guys try to implement that in your racing. And parents, if you're listening and you have kids that race, try it. I know it's a weird thing because you don't want a kid to accept defeat or like to settle for a poor result. But at the same time, I don't think that that's it. I think if you're looking at the results, you're doing it wrong. I think the results should almost, like what place you're getting in the race should almost be completely irrelevant. I really do. And that's what's changed about my racing as well. Like the last year, it was no longer really, although there was a lot of external, not pressure, but there was a lot of making main, obviously, right? Are we making the main? Are you making the main? How close are you to making the main? How many positions away from making the main are you? Like, what's your time, based on making the main? But for me, it wasn't about that. It was just, did I come off the track and did I ride to my potential or did I not? It didn't matter what place I was in. And maybe that's just me getting old. Maybe that's just an old guy's mentality. Maybe.
Could be.
But I really think if you guys want to build and actually progress and not get hurt and stay in this sport for a long time, think about trying out that system. I think it'll work.
Yeah.
Certainly
it's
better than riding 100% and just being reckless.
Right. For me, it's so funny because I just don't care. Truly, I don't care about going fast. If I were in a race, what does it matter? What does it mean to me how well I do in a race?
Right. I have the same mentality. what, I don't care.
Yeah, but it's not going to benefit me to win or lose. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, same. And there's just a feeling, you know, when you're reaching potential or not. And I just want to have the feeling of that I've reached potential. And the results don't have anything to do with that. Going fast doesn't really have anything to do with that. It won't feel fast if you're doing it the right way. Like today, I got down to low 101s, where the beginning of last week I was at like 105s, which is a huge, huge difference. Mm-hmm. And something clicked. And Jonah and I talked about it, where I felt, I don't know how long I've been here. Let's see, I started training for Supercross November 15th. So December 15th, we're 6 weeks in to training. First 3 days felt like this. Whoop, huge improvement. It was crazy. The last 5.5 weeks, it felt like I didn't get any better at all. But I was smart enough to not force the issue. And then to the end of last week and today, something clicked. And what's funny is it clicked for Jonah at the same time. Because all of a sudden today, him and I were circulating doing 101s on other ends of the track, but we always watch each other to see, you know, if we're catching each other or not. And I put in a really good lap, come back around to the double out of a turn. He's coming towards the triple going the other way. Every lap in the same spot. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. What are our times? And when we pulled off, his mechanic had the times. And he was like, whoa, that was awesome. That was 101s. And him and I looked at each other and we were like, what the? You know, a week and a half ago, we were 105s, 106s, and we felt like we couldn't humanly go any faster than that. And all of a sudden, for some reason, today we're 4.5 seconds faster with the same perceived level of effort. Just consistent seat time. It's because we've been riding every day, and eventually you'll be able to just go faster. You can't expect it to happen when you guys are riding once a week. Your progression is going to be so slow.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of things about Supercross too. I'd love to know your thoughts. Just like a lot of people who are getting into Supercross are just like, you just need to ride the track. Just ride the laps, do the laps on a Supercross track and figure out Supercross. What's your take on that?
Well, no, I think that method is good for most anybody in most any situation. I think if you're uncomfortable, just keep riding and you will get more comfortable. If you got a brand new bike and you went on the track and everything feels way too stiff and it feels horrible, don't go do one lap and pull back into the truck, because then you're going to go back out and do another lap and you're going to be even in a worse mood and you're going to be even more uncomfortable. Just keep circulating and you'll start to kind of get into a flow. Things will work in. You'll get comfortable. With Supercross, there's truth to that, but your technique has to be really good.
The biggest scrub of the year. Ready?
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, let's watch this. Okay, so real quick, he caught his foot peg a little bit, which is horrifying because and I know that didn't do it justice, but hitting that jump, there was a plateau, like a lip after it, where the Red Bull sign was. I would have been afraid scrubbing it that hard that I would have then hit the Red Bull sign.
Are you like... Sorry, keep going.
Well, what were you going to ask?
Are you like thinking of doing that when you're coming up to it, or do you just do it?
Oh, interesting. So, no, in a race situation like that, he probably decided to scrub that hard. Like when he probably landed the jump before it just right and was just far enough behind Barsha to where he got that urge in his stomach to just be like, oh, well, we're sending this thing. Because back when I was young, I would often scrub by guys. Often. I remember at Englishtown, they used to have this big floater tabletop in the back. I would take off after guys and land before them all the time. And it just takes that little bit of extra effort. So when you scrub, obviously you're hitting the jump faster than what you would to hit it normally. That's step one. Step two, and I've been teaching this lately, and I never really thought about this until lately, you scrub off throttle. A scrub, I think almost always is off throttle, meaning you have to come in so fast that you let off the throttle for that last little bit. When you get so effective, dude, so sick. That's what I get for teaching class in 30-degree weather. When you get really good at scrubbing, then the fear is catching your inside foot. Twice when I was on 85s, once was Minios, another one was at Hurricane Hills or Pleasure Valley or Frozen Ocean, wherever the heck that track is, New York, Pennsylvania, somewhere. It was horrible. On 85, scrubbed so hard that my foot peg caught, and on a small bike like that, you don't have enough power to push you through it. It just would throw you into an endo and tsunami like Superman yourself. So I crashed twice in a year. I think within a year, I crashed twice doing that. And ever since, I've been scared. But what you'll notice is if you replay that, and if you know who's really good at it is Chase Sexton. When you watch Chase Sexton do a scrub, he frequently catches his inside foot peg on the jump face, but they keep their foot so tight that it doesn't affect them. And being on fast bikes, they're able, and they're approaching with so much speed, they're able to not like have it kill all of their forward momentum. But to do it on a jump, and for anybody that wasn't there, that tabletop was huge.
It was insane. It was actually insane.
Huge. The biggest jump I've ever hit at a race event in my life. And I know it started, like people were starting to hit it so casually that once you watched it on TV, it probably didn't look as spectacular. But this is a good gauge of it. The 125s had to practice first. The guys in the 125 class all were very high level dudes. It took 7 or 8 passes until anybody jumped it. That never happens. Usually second lap at Supercross, everything's been jumped. At most 3 laps, maybe 4 laps. And especially this just being a casual tabletop. It wasn't like it was a quad and a rhythm section or anything super technical. It was just so big that nobody wanted to jump it. And you couldn't see. So when you're going off the face, I'm talking, you're just staring at the Red Bull sign and the sky. When you landed on top, you would land on the wood and ride on the wood for a while. And then, I don't know why they did this, the landing had a huge dirt knuckle.
Yeah, that was
which
weird.
that was the scariest part. And holy cow, it was also spaced just far enough away from the jump before it and just too close to the jump after it that it was like, oh my God, I'm not only afraid to case this thing because I'm going to land on this knuckle and kill myself, but if I jump this down to the bottom, I'm in the face of that next on off.
And you fell like 60 feet.
Holy crap. But it was so, I wish I had a bike that didn't bog because I would have loved to, I could have sessioned that jump all day long. The feeling was like hitting a freestyle jump, like 120 foot when the ramps, I think standard freestyle length is 75. Is it 60? 60 or 70, 75?
I want to say 75.
When you hit a 120 ramp to dirt, which I've only done one day, the feeling you get in your stomach is like nothing else. It doesn't feel, it feels like you're on a roller coaster ride. Very unusual feeling. That's what that tabletop felt like.
It looked fun once you guys were doing it, but I mean, guys, when you got up there, if you stood at the top of that thing, you're like, oh, this is big. Because not only are you 40 feet in the air, but it was big. I don't know what it was lip to lip, but it was huge.
It was all, what would you guess distance wise? At least
like
200.
135. I mean, it's gotta be. No, I would say 80.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it felt like you were going equally as high as you were far. That was what was unusual about it. And that's what was so fun about it as well.
Did it work like, you know how freestyle jumps, you've said, like you can hit them as fast as you want. You just go higher, you don't go further?
Yes, sort of, to a certain extent. And that was like, once you learned how to hit it, that's what made us all feel pretty confident in it, in that you could go wicked fast and you were still going to catch that landing somewhere.
Yeah.
So many noises, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but that jump was insane. And for Roczens to throw a scrub, I mean, he made up 2 bike lanes.
Oh.
Just there.
And it wasn't just a scrub. Like, that was a scrub of all scrubs.
That was
spectacular.
level, for sure.
Yeah, you can't humanly scrub any harder than that on a jump that is that big.
No, you couldn't. I couldn't believe that even happened.
No.
I can't even, if you guys could have seen how steep that lip was, it didn't look scrubbable.
No, I know.
Like, wow. Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
It was just a fun jump, but straight rhythm is just fun, period. I'm glad though, because the last one for the Pastrana one and the year before when I did the Stewart tribute, which was what, 17, 18 or 18, 19. Neither of those years had any jumps that were that fun or big.
Yeah.
So hopefully moving forward, straight rhythm, Jason Baker, build something like that because that was awesome. Come on, dude.
Who was that?
Don't call me. Driver Jamie.
Aw.
Everybody on my team knows not to call me unless they set it up.
Well, I call you. You just don't answer. So.
Oh, right. I never
imagine-
answer a call unless it's set up.
Imagine, okay, so there's one thing, and I want to hear your opinion about this because I didn't ride the track, but from a viewer standpoint, there was one thing I would change about the track.
Okay.
I would take out the double before the finish line and after the whoops. It seemed more exciting when it went whoops to finish line.
Agreed. I personally would make the whoops that long.
Oh, wow. Just like forever?
Forever. And bigger. That was my only disappointment is that the whoops were, and it wouldn't have mattered because my bike was bogging. I would have made it halfway through and not gone any further. But they should make the whoops a little bigger and they should make maybe like 5 more of them. And then right into a big finish line. Like make the finish line giant. You want guys to be able to throw huge whips or something like that. Those 2 jumps, especially in the 250 class, were very tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd make the whoops bigger though, because it's pretty exciting to see, that one Hail Mary where the dude's just looks like he's in a straightaway. He's going so fast.
Yeah,
And
but
that
when
would
they're
limit that a little bit.
when they're slightly bigger though, the Hail Mary would look more drastic because he'd probably catch the next guy even more so.
Right.
I think these ones were so easy that everybody was going so fast that even when somebody did Hail Mary it, there wasn't much time to be made or lost.
Yeah.
Speaking of gear, which brings me to my next point that I was thinking about.
Hit me with it.
You don't wear a chest protector ever.
No.
That's bad.
That is bad. Do you know that because I've said that, or do you know that because you can tell that I don't wear one?
I think we talked about it once too, but I mean, you could see every clip on Instagram. It's
obvious.
You can see the pecs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason, dude. The pecs are large and in charge. It's hard to have a chest protector that makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't really worn a chest protector that I love and that is super, super, super comfortable. The Fox one, it's still, you can see it through the jersey and it's still slightly uncomfortable. I'm sure there's one out there. I should find it because I have punctured my lung twice. Oof. That probably wouldn't have happened if I had chest protector on.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you ever crashed without a chest protector on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And roost.
Oh,
Granted,
even see, I didn't even understand if you had a roost guard and no, like mine. This brings me to my next. I was thinking about because I wear a plastic, like a hard, thick plastic chest protector.
Yeah.
If I wasn't wearing that when I crashed, I probably would have broken my back worse.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot worse.
And you puncture your lung.
I probably would have. Yeah.
Didn't you puncture something?
No, I had it's called a pneumothorax.
Yep.
Air escaped my lung.
Got it.
And it was like in the pressurized.
So it was like almost a puncture, considered a puncture, but not quite.
No, I don't really know. It wasn't a puncture. It was
because I've had a pneumothorax before too.
And it's from puncturing your lung.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I
thought so.
I think that can happen without puncturing your lungs. I don't think your lungs are a huge medical guy over here. I don't think lungs are super tight where there's no air can get out. I think if you hit the ground hard enough like I did, you could end up with that slipping out maybe up here, maybe down here. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, thank God you had the chest protector on then.
Yeah.
And yes, I should wear one. The neck brace could be argued that
break your collarbone.
Well, or it's just really difficult to get into the right position.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find a good fitting neck brace too. What else? The knee braces to knee pad switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to wear all these things. I mean, once upon a time, on my body, I had knee braces, a chest protector, and a neck brace.
Yeah.
Now I don't wear a neck brace. I don't wear a chest.
Picture right there.
Yeah, guaranteed I had a chest protector on under that jersey.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Because that was...
What year was that?
I wonder what chest protector I had on under that jersey because it doesn't look like it was big.
Do you know what year that is?
That would have been 09 probably. Oh... 09 or 10, which honestly was probably, I might have been faster that year than any other year of my life.
Yeah.
I was very fast that year from what I remember. Yeah, to now being no neck brace, no chest protector, and knee pad instead of, and it's freeing. Tell you that much. The biggest difference is the knee pads.
Yeah, and I don't wear knee like guards with the hard anymore.
Yeah.
What
do you wear?
TP 199s.
Okay. And before that, you had just clunky
my
knee
dad
pads
had
with,
the Velcro ones that go around your leg. They
are-
always fall off and
those
slide
are
up and
horrible.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The TP 199s are awesome. Though,
I love
aren't they?
them. I love them.
Yeah, game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, for anybody listening to this,
Buy 'em.
try the EVS TP 199. They're inexpensive. I'm not even technically sponsored by them anymore. I'm going to create my own eventually that's better, but for now, it's the best
It's
we
gonna be hard
got.
to beat.
Yeah, but there's 2 or 3 things that are very easy fixes that I specifically would want, and it will make them better. And then brand the Moto Academy, and we'll sell a crap ton because I sell so many EVSs, and it pains me because it's like,
You could be getting that one.
yeah, I know. But they're good. So in the meantime, get them and watch how much you can actually grip the bike compared to before. And you didn't even have the experience of switching from like, I wore a carbon big old clunky knee brace.
Really?
Couldn't feel a thing.
From your ACL or just because?
Even before the ACL. So I tore my ACL in that brace, but I was wearing braces from the time I was on 85s all the way through. And I just thought it was normal to like not be able to, I mean, it's just like ricocheting off plastic. You can't feel where anything is. People are getting arm pump all the time.
Do your knees move around in them too? Like,
Yeah,
I can't imagine they fit the width of your knee perfectly.
They hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. My knees would be bloody after every time I rode. And now
I mean, I still have
I
some
still definitely,
good calluses on the inside.
for
but-
sure. But it's nothing like when I wore a brace.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Brian and Kane. I was wondering if you can explain how Jett is able to move so fast. I feel like we've seen Hayden Deegan through his years growing up, and we see him putting all the hard work in. But then Jett just kind of bounced on the scene. What was it, 2019, when he did the Monster Energy Cup and ended up winning and talking about how he was promised a donut. But yeah, we really didn't know much of him from there. He just seems like a little rocket. And I was wondering if you'd give some insight. How is Jett so quick at such a young age?
Great question. So wait, his name isn't Brian Kane. There's Brian and there's Kane inside of the app. Did he just say Brian and Kane?
It sure sounded like but I cannot confirm with any confidence.
Okay, Brian, let us know. Because I always thought your name was Brian Kane. But if there's also another Kane, if there's somebody else named Kane that's also on your account that we don't hear from, let me know.
Password sharing. Unbelievable.
What did he ask? Oh, yeah, that is interesting because you got to track the whole progress with the Deegans and Hayden growing up. But with Jett, nobody really knew or heard of him until that day at Monster Cup in that was 2019. That's crazy. That wasn't that long ago. And to think of what he's accomplished since then is absolutely stupid.
That was not long ago.
Not at all.
Like,
holy crap.
yeah, I would have thought it was before that.
That's insane. But what it was is there was so much work. I've heard their story now, getting to know them. Their time in Europe was a big, big factor. Jett growing up, traveling Europe, riding all those tracks, training over there, working with all the people that he worked with. That's where he got all that experience, all that knowledge, all that corner speed. And then once he got here, it's just further developing those skills that he had already honed in probably before the age of 16, and then just compounding confidence on top of that at that point. And because you get, I mean, basically it really all started, you had like the races where he almost won, but Ferrandis got him and then he knocked himself out. But like there's little stuff like that where that starts to build a lot of confidence. And then Dazzy's smart. He had them doing all of the right things. It is crazy though, because when you watch Jett, I mean, Hunter has very, very, very good corner speed as well. But when you watch Jett, there is no setting up a turn. it's absurd. He didn't do many laps yesterday, but he did just enough to where I watched him hit the whoops, which by the way, they made the whoops insanely big on the bottom pad at the dog pound. He hit the whoops and then hit the 90-degree right-hander after that, like a slot car. And even when you watch Dean Wilson hit it, it is very much like break, 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 set up, turn, get in the rut, and 3 in. And Jett, it's just like, and he's doing the 3 in before you even realize he hit the corner. It's incredible. It's incredible. I don't know. He's got, Chase Sexton has insane corner speed also, but yeah. Yep. That's the best answer I have, I suppose.
Moto Academy podcast. This is Thin Retinas. So I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. It's my personal opinion that Tomac is going to come back. But I've just seen some news floating around confirming that he might. So what do you guys think? We talk a lot about how being off the bike helps us, normal people. Do you think that can do good for Tomac? What can you speak to that? Thank you, and toodaloo.
Dude, first of all, the hat. Second of all, the hair.
Yeah, wow.
Just the strand of hair coming down. I wish I had that. My hair just goes up and away. Like I have no style choices whatsoever. It just goes straight up. And I was hoping since I got the hair transplant, I'm like, oh, new hair transplant, gonna have some new options for styling. Nope, just straight up in the front. And
Really?
I can't
That's
do
it, huh?
anything about it.
We can't do a mullet, nothing?
I mean, maybe if I let it grow really long, it might give me some alternatives.
You gotta try.
But so far, seems pretty limited. Pretty limited. Thin Retinas, shout out. Good question. I would have bet money that he wouldn't have come back. So now that, I don't know how old that question is, but he is now announced he is coming back, which is...
Supercross only.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, for 2024.
Okay.
I am so excited.
That's going to
Dude,
be
I'm so excited.
great to watch.
Everybody will be back too. Like Craig has been out forever. Barsh has been out forever. Like they're
450
all
is going to be
dude.
fun.
And then you got Jett freaking Lawrence in there. I
And
don't
Hunter.
know.
I think Hunter.
And I think Hunter will be 452. That I mean, we have no insider information on that, by the way.
None.
I'm assuming that's what'll happen.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
If he wins the outdoor title, I would say inevitable. But
Yeah. What was the question? Time off the bike. Tomac's smart. He's probably somehow just getting more fit in his time off the bike. When he comes back on, he'll probably correct us a couple of small things that he could have corrected, which Tomac rides pretty well. He just bulldogs it, and he's so fit he can get away with bulldogging it. Maybe he adds a little bit more finesse in there, but Tomac will be a title threat. There's not even a question about that. He is so good on that Yamaha, and he will be again so good on that Yamaha. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be really interesting.
And you got Cooper Webb as his teammate, dude. Like
I think I would guess that Cooper Webb will be less good on the Yamaha.
Really?
Personally, but
I don't know. I mean, he's always struggled on the KTM, hasn't he? Well, except for the
I
two
think the
championships.
KTM is perfect for him because Webb is just the guy that likes to land, slam on the brakes, take the turn
Yeah,
really
right.
tight. I mean, unless he was just doing that because he was on the KTM, it seemed like that was what was giving him all of his advantages. Where now in the Yamaha doesn't jump through the whoops as good, right? I mean, I would guess that he would do worse on that bike, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, I totally understand how these conversations are completely useless.
Yeah.
Because it's useless that we're talking about this right now. However, what happens? I gotta know. What happens when you have Jett, Eli, and Sexton all together in Supercross next year? Because we've seen what happens with Jett and Chase, and we've seen what happens with Eli and Chase. What goes down with the three of them?
I mean, it very well, assuming everybody stays healthy,
Right.
it could be one of the best seasons of 450 Supercross that we've ever seen ever. If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to send in your own video submission, you can join us in the Moto Academy family inside of the Moto Academy app by just going to themotoacademy.com. That's also where you can sign up for a class. Okay, guys, see you next episode.